Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually woke up feeling completely refreshed? Not just okay, not just functional, but genuinely, deeply rested. If you had to think about it for more than a second, this video might be one of the most important things you watch today. Because what is happening inside your brain right now, while you sit there running on 4, 5, maybe 6 hours of sleep, is far more serious than you think. And the scary part? Most people don't even realize it's happening to them. We live in a world that glorifies hustle. We celebrate the person who says they only need 4 hours. We call it ambition. We call it dedication. But neuroscience calls it something completely different. It calls it self-destruction. Slow, silent, invisible self-destruction. And today, we are going to talk about exactly what lack of sleep does to your brain, 3 dangerous warning signs you need to take seriously, and why ignoring this could cost you far more than just a bad morning. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at a sleepless night the same way again. So let's start with the basics. Your brain is the most complex organ in the known universe. It runs everything: your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, your decisions, your personality. And just like any powerful machine, it needs maintenance. That maintenance happens during sleep, not rest, not lying down, scrolling your phone, actual, deep, restorative sleep. During those hours, your brain does things it literally cannot do while you are awake. It flushes out toxic waste. It consolidates memories. It repairs neurons. It regulates emotions. It resets your entire mental operating system. When you cut that time short, you are not just a little tired. You are forcing your brain to operate with its maintenance system switched off. And that is where the real danger begins. Here is the first dangerous warning sign, and it is the one most people dismiss as just stress or aging. It is memory failure, not forgetting where you left your keys once. We are talking about a noticeable, consistent decline in your ability to retain new information, recall past memories, and connect ideas the way you used to. Here is what is happening on a biological level. During deep sleep, your brain moves information from short-term storage into long-term memory. This process is called memory consolidation. When you are sleep-deprived, this process gets disrupted. The things you learned today, the conversation you had, the task you completed, they never fully transfer. They stay fragile, incomplete, easy to lose. Over time, this creates a kind of mental fog that people often chalk up to stress or getting older, when the real answer is simpler and more fixable. They are not sleeping enough. But it gets worse. Recent research has found that the brain uses a system called the glymphatic system during sleep to wash out a protein called beta amyloid. Beta amyloid is the same protein that accumulates in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. Every night you sleep well, your brain flushes it out. Every night you don't, a little more stays behind. We are not saying one bad night gives you Alzheimer's, but chronic sleep deprivation, night after night, year after year, creates conditions in the brain that dramatically increase that risk. This is not fear-mongering. This is published, peer-reviewed neuroscience. So if you have been noticing that your memory is not what it used to be, that you are struggling to concentrate, that information just seems to slip away, that is your brain trying to tell you something. Do not ignore it. Now let's talk about the second warning sign, and this one affects not just you, but every single person around you. It is emotional instability. And I am not talking about just feeling a little moody. I am talking about disproportionate reactions, sudden anger, unexplained anxiety, emotional sensitivity that seems to come out of nowhere. Your brain has an emotional regulation center called the prefrontal cortex. It is the rational, logical part of your brain, the part that says, calm down, think before you react, this is not worth getting upset over. And then there is the amygdala, the emotional alarm system that fires up when it senses a threat, real or imagined. Under normal, well-rested conditions, the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala work together in balance. One fires, the other manages it. But when you are sleep-deprived, the prefrontal cortex goes quiet. It loses its ability to regulate. And the amygdala? It becomes overactive, up to 60% more reactive, according to brain imaging studies. What this means in real life is that small inconveniences feel like catastrophes. Mild frustrations turn into explosive anger. Social situations feel overwhelming. Sadness deepens into something that starts to look like depression. Worry spirals into something that starts to look like anxiety. And here is the cruel irony. Anxiety and depression both make it harder to sleep. So you get caught in this vicious cycle where poor sleep makes your emotional state worse, and a worse emotional state makes your sleep worse. Round and round it goes, until you have no idea which came first anymore. If you have noticed that your temper is shorter than it used to be, that you are crying more easily, that you feel anxious without a clear reason, that the people you love seem to be walking on eggshells around you, please consider this. It may not be your circumstances. It may not even be a mental health condition. It may be that your brain is running on empty and desperately needs rest. The third warning sign is the most dangerous, and it is the one nobody talks about enough because it is invisible until it causes a disaster. It is impaired judgment and decision-making. Your ability to assess risk, weigh consequences, make rational choices, and think clearly is profoundly compromised by sleep deprivation. And the terrifying thing is, you do not feel like your judgment is impaired. That is the trap. Studies have compared the cognitive performance of sleep-deprived individuals to those who are legally drunk. After 17 to 19 hours without sleep, your reaction time, decision-making accuracy, and problem-solving ability are equivalent to someone with a blood alcohol level of 0.05. After 24 hours, it matches someone who is legally intoxicated. But unlike someone who has been drinking, sleep-deprived people consistently overestimate their own performance. They think they are doing fine. They think they are sharp. They are not. This is why exhausted doctors make medical errors. This is why tired truck drivers cause fatal accidents. This is why burned-out executives make catastrophic business decisions. This is why relationships fall apart under stress. Because two sleep-deprived people cannot communicate clearly, cannot regulate their emotions, cannot see each other charitably, cannot make good choices. And it is not just big dramatic decisions. Every single day you make hundreds of tiny judgments about what to eat, how to respond to someone, how to prioritize your time, how to handle a conflict. All of those choices are worse when you are sleep deprived. All of them. And they compound. One bad decision leads to another. Over weeks and months and years, the shape of your life is quietly bent by the consistent low quality of your rested brain. So what can you do? The answer is not complicated, even if it is not always easy. You need to protect your sleep with the same seriousness that you protect your physical health, your finances, your relationships. 7 to 9 hours is not a luxury. It is a biological requirement. Your bedroom should be dark, cool, and quiet. Your screen time before bed should be limited because blue light suppresses melatonin. Your caffeine should be cut off in the early afternoon. Your bedtime should be consistent, even on weekends, because your brain runs on a biological clock that does not care about your social schedule. And if you have tried all of that and you are still struggling, please talk to a doctor. Sleep disorders like sleep apnea are far more common than people realize, and they are treatable. You do not have to white-knuckle your way through exhaustion and pretend it is normal. Your brain is not a machine that you can push harder and harder without consequence. It is a living organ that needs care. And when you give it that care, when you actually prioritize sleep, the changes are remarkable. Memory improves, emotions stabilize, clarity returns, energy comes back. The version of you that you have been wondering where it went, a lot of the time, that version is just waiting on the other side of consistent quality sleep. If this video made you think, if it gave you something to take seriously, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because there are people in your life right now running on empty, wearing it like a badge of honor, not knowing what it is costing them. Sometimes a little information at the right moment changes everything. Take care of your brain. It is the only one you have got, and it is worth every single hour of sleep you give it.